Hi, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I actually tackle reading and writing assignments in the real world and in college classes. This is an example. This is the page from my graduate class that I'm taking right now. And each week you go through and it gives you your study material. So this is my reading for the week. Some of it might be websites, depending on the class that you're taking. Some of them, like this, is our textbook. And it is a digital textbook because I am taking this 100% online. So the first thing that I do is see what the objectives are, and I read over those. This is a grant writing class, so we're looking at writing grants. And then I go through and I do most of the reading. Actually, for me, before I do the reading, I will go in and look at the questions that I'm going to have to answer. So for this one, these are my two discussion questions that I'll need to answer for my and I put those in a discussion, and then other people will respond, and we kind of have an online discussion about those topics. Now, right now I'm in week 7. So I've gone through all 6 weeks, and I'm in week 7 of the class, and there's fewer reading materials because I've done so much reading on it at this point, and it's an 8-week class, so this class is getting ready to be over. And now the task for this week, come back to task. The task for this week, I've already done the 2 discussion questions, and I'll get my participation. We get a little bit of a participation grade if we've done the discussion questions. And then here is kind of my big project for the week. So this is my big writing assignment. So the way I lay this out is I take the writing assignment and I read it carefully and I mark it. So this week I'm writing a 500 to 750 word front matter section of your proposal that includes a cover letter, an executive summary, and an abstract. And it has when the deadline is. Okay, so they give you a little scenario each time. And as I scroll down, your tasks: the cover letter of no more than 1 page that introduces your topic, followed by an executive summary based on your need statement. The need statement was an earlier assignment, so I've already written that. In a cover page that includes an abstract of your project. Okay. As you've learned, these 3 features of proposals communicate similar information that are presented differently. So I know I'm going to write similar information that's presented differently. And you can see I've read this carefully, and I am going through and highlighting, and I'm going to make sure I do every single part of it. So as I start to write it, I can look at, I'm writing a cover letter, and what goes in the cover letter: short description of the problem and solution. It should also guide the funding source reviewers, because this is a grant, so I'm trying to get someone to give me money, through the elements that are included in your proposal. The goal of the cover letter is to make a first impression and get your sponsors excited about your proposal. Okay, so as I'm working on that, as I've been reading about cover letters for grants, they said to use letterhead. So I made sure I had letterhead. I wrote my cover letter. And this is kind of a grant I've made up. So if you read it and you're like, is she really doing that? No, I'm not really doing that. It's just for the assignment for the class. But I have done research and everything to know what I'm talking about. I still need to add, I have not added yet, the elements that are included in my proposal. So at some place in here, I'm going to have to list, as you read the proposal, you will find these things. Then I need an executive summary, and you can tell I'm still writing this, so the formatting isn't right. This will start on its new page. And as I'm writing the executive summary, right here. The executive summary serves as a snapshot. Establish a relationship between the problem you want to solve and the sponsor's mission. Okay, so I went and I had to research the sponsor's mission. My sponsor, and again, my made up grant, but this is a real sponsor, was the Beaumont Foundation. So the Beaumont Foundation is a real foundation. It's out of Houston. They really do give educational grants. So I looked up their mission statement and their goals and objectives. So to answer that first part that says establish a relationship with the problem you want to solve and your sponsor's mission. Okay, so I need to do that in my writing. So here's how I did that. Like the Beaumont Foundation, we believe, and I'm quoting from their website, our children are the future leaders, problem solvers, and stewards of our community. Education is the pathway to success for every community and society. I will have to cite that. We believe LAPS, that's the program that I've made up for my grant, aligns with the Beaumont Foundation goals of opening access, promoting excellence, and building leadership of educators, future educators, and mostly our students. LAPS will work towards this goal by providing students with information vital to okay, and I'm still writing that sentence. And then according to David Conley, so now I'm putting in some research that ties the Beaumont Foundation goal to the problem I want to solve. Okay, and then the next thing I do is I'm going to put the problem into context. So I have to think about what is the problem and make sure that the reader understands what my problem is. Indicate the goal and main objective. So I'm going to put the goal of my program that I'm wanting funded through this grant and the objectives for it. Okay, so each thing I can almost check off as I write that, and I think mentally I have written, here's where I've copied and pasted in my goals and objectives. I'm going to write those in a narrative now, but I've already written the goals and objectives for the program, so I've copied those in here. So writing isn't necessarily a pretty thing to as you're drafting things. Like I said, this is a draft that I'm working on, but I can, if I carefully go through this document, which tells me everything about the assignment and when it is due and how much it is worth, I can make sure that I check each thing that I am supposed to be doing. I can make sure that I have established a relationship between the problem. I'm saying words that address the sponsor's mission and my problem. I can put the problem into context so I can make sure that my reader understands how big the problem is and where it is a problem. And that's what they mean by putting into context. I might have to look up some words if I'm not sure what they're asking me to do. I could even shoot an email to the professor if I'm working on it before it's due and say, hey, what do you mean by put the problem into context? Can you give me an example of what it looks like to put a problem into context? And they're happy to help you as long as you do it before the deadline. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to walk you through my thought process as I am breaking down and working on one of my assignments. And again, this is if I was doing a resume. And I would look at the job advertisement. I would look at, the mission for Friendship ISD. And as I wrote a cover letter, I would try to write, how would I be a good teacher at Friendship ISD? And then attach my resume, and I would make sure that I had everything that Friendship ISD asked for in their job application on that website for a job application. I would do the same thing. I would look, read carefully the information and then provide them each of the things that they're asking me for and do my best writing on it. And that's how I would work to get that job. But this is coming along well, and I'll probably have an A on this paper mostly because I'm specifically following the directions.